Yes, welcome to the Heart of Courage. This is the Courageous Conversations with Terry Sayre, and we are talking about opportunity today in the acronym of courage. We're in the O again this month. So, Terry, go ahead and open us up with the opportunity conversation for discussion today.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about opportunity because I have some ideas of how that fits into my life and my journey, and how courage fits into that the definition of opportunity. So we always kind of like to start out with what does opportunity mean to you? How does that word affect your choices and your decisions in your life? And how do you see that as a part of courage? So I'm going to ask each one of you to kind of think about that for a minute, and then I'm going to let you volunteer or I'll call on you. You know, being a teacher for 30 years, I don't mind calling on people uh, so that everybody can participate. So, does someone want to jump right in and tell us what they think about opportunity as a concept, as a word that might be a part of your vocabulary?
I think of opportunity as a chance to do something, a privilege to be able to um, take on whatever task. And I also wanted to say it's a choice, but really opportunity is something that's put before you that you can say yay or nay to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think the more we say yay, the better it gets.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Carol.
I
Yeah.
love that. I think of possibilities. Like that's the word that comes to mind when I hear opportunity. I think possibilities because I agree, Carol, right? It's a choice what we do with the opportunities that we have. And that brings, again, the word possibilities to me. So
Hmm.
possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that leaves me, and
Figure
I
that
would
out.
I would agree. I think it's an opportunity is being in a certain place at the right time, or maybe at a time, and
Yeah.
being able to choose where we go with it. What do we take on? And sometimes, like right now, we have the opportunity to be on this call or
Hmm.
not, right?
Yeah.
So I would look at it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when Becky said possibilities, that's one of the things that one of the steps that we teach in our Fearless Living course is possibilities, being one of the ways to get to freedom, to get from fear to freedom, is to see possibilities. And so I think that's a really good synonym for opportunity. I like in my most recent lifetime, the last few years, I've looked at opportunity and possibilities as a substitute for the word challenge or difficulty or trial. Because you hear people talk about adversity a lot, and we all have challenges, and we can say it's adversity or we can say it's opportunity. And so
Yes.
what I've tried to do is substitute in my language, because we all know that language matters and words matter, to substitute when I'm thinking things are difficult. I've taken the word hard out of my vocabulary as well. When things become difficult, I look at the challenge as an opportunity or a possibility, because it's important. Um, I work with young people a lot, and it's important to help them understand the typical societal meaning of failure is something bad. And I see failure as an opportunity, and
To learn.
helping them to, again, reframe their mindset and eliminate some words from their vocabulary. And I think that failure is one of those words that we can change in our mind as soon as we hear it. It's not failure, it's an opportunity. It's a possibility. It's a time to learn. It's a time to grow. It's a time to maybe take a pivot in my journey, change my mindset. I just feel like it's the word opportunity, like the word practice. Instead of saying I'm going to try I say I'm going to practice, there's a visceral experience in my body when I change from try to practice. And when I change from adversity to opportunity, my body changes. The feeling within my body changes. My shoulders go down. I can take a breath and feel hopeful. So I think for me, the word is extremely positive for me to have courage. So that's kind of my main thought about how courage and opportunity work together in order to help us move along, forward. And of course, for me, it's moving from fear into freedom, and that means taking action rather than being blocked by fear. So those are some thoughts that I have around the concept or the word of opportunity or opportunities or opportune moment, all the different ways we can say the word. So I don't know, does that any thoughts about how that word in and of itself can be impactful in our desire to choose courage?
I think saying yes to an opportunity is an act of courage.
Mhm.
I think that, and I also learned a long time ago that the word try, I try not to use that, because have you ever tried to take a pencil?
Yeah.
You either do it or you don't. So there's nothing to try. It's a wasted word, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, and it doesn't move you forward at all, does it? It's
No, it
just like,
doesn't do
because
squat.
I'll try, but if I don't do it, it's okay. I won't try again, or I'll try again. But when you say, I'm going to practice patience today, then you're going to practice it and you're going to do what you can when you can, the best you can, and keep practicing because that's how we
Yep,
get better. I mean, everybody
yep,
always uses sports analogy. The more you practice tennis or the more you practice piano, the better you get. Well, the more you practice anything, any emotional, spiritual, physical practice, you're going to get better and you're
yeah.
going to gain strength. Yeah. And
You know,
yeah. So, yeah, I love that, Carol. Thank you.
yeah, that's really interesting because practicing to me sounds like or trying to me sounds like one time. I'm gonna try that. So then it's one
Hmm.
time. But if you're practicing, you're going back. Especially if I think about being a yoga teacher, we usually say we practice yoga versus, well, I'll try yoga, right? Because it
Yeah.
is a practice. We keep going
Mhm.
back and relearning about ourselves and about our thoughts and all the things and our
Yeah.
bodies. Yeah,
Yeah. That's,
interesting.
yeah, I love that.
And then there's a cultural thing that we have about practice. We all say practice makes
I know.
Perfect.
I don't like that word
Yeah.
either.
And so
Yeah,
I
me
learned
neither.
I learned practice makes permanent,
Oh, there you go. I'm writing that down. I like that. Yeah, practice makes permanent.
because we can never be perfect.
No, it's a myth.
Yeah.
So
So
I
That's
was
good.
just thinking about that, right? Because opportunity can come from, like as you were saying, something that's challenging or something that, it's the way we view it as to make it, in fact, an opportunity, right? And I was thinking before, Carol, before you said practice is permanence, because I was like, oh, I don't like that idea because I was thinking how, um, oh shoot, what was it? I was trying to write the note and then I stopped. Um, practice. Oh,
It'll come to you.
yep.
yeah, I was thinking about how
What about practice makes
it was
patience?
it was
Yeah.
I went off of, I mean, obviously the Yoda quote of do or do not, there is no try came to mind when we were talking about
Yeah.
the word
Yeah.
try. And Carrie, I did love what you said about try, you think of one time. I never actually thought about it that way. So that was cool. Because it is about practicing is coming back to it. Oh, it was the negative side of practice. That's why I was probably trying to eliminate it from my brain. But it was about, the idea that we can practice the negative habits, the bad things, the things that do block us from saying yes to opportunities That's what was coming to mind. So then when Carol, when you said practice makes permanence, I was like, yeah, think about the things that we're practicing unconsciously that is deterring us from saying yes to opportunities that move us forward in our lives, right? Like taking yoga consistently and going back to it as a practice, or breath work, or, the things that support us. Those are the opportunities that could be stopped from unconsciously practicing the same uh, outcomes that aren't supporting us. So that's what was coming to mind.
Yeah,
Um,
because we can choose either self-destructive behavior or proactive behavior. And if
mhm,
we practice the self-destructive behavior long enough, like beating ourselves up, it actually becomes habituated. And I was thinking that one way you could say practice equals progress.
mhm,
That would be a way of saying it as well, and taking out the perfection, the perfect thing. Um, Practice equals progress. And then the progress can even be defined, further. If we're setting an intention that we want to practice um, patience, say, or we want to practice healthy habits, or we want to practice whatever we want to practice, then we can set those concrete goals under that. Like I have my health intention and I have 5 goals that I can practice every day. And that's what I do. And I do it at, when I can, what I can, the best I can, because that's my mantra to get rid of perfection. Um, and those have become internalized, and I don't even have to think about them anymore. I have 5 health practices underneath my intention to have abundant energy. Because at my age, that's the thing that I really crave is energy. And so that's my health intention. I am willing to practice, because that's how we write an intention. I am willing to practice healthy habits that bring abundant energy. And then I have my 5 practices, and I can practice those every day. If I miss one, I miss one. The next day I practice, and the one I've been missing lately, which I'm trying to figure out why, is not eating after 8 o'clock. Lately, I've
mhm.
had these cravings to eat snacks at night, and I think, no, no, that's one of my practices is to not eat late at night. And so I can review my practices, I can recommit to my practices, and then I can do what I can when I can, the best I can. And so I think that's a way of looking at that word. Because if I say I can try not to eat late at night, I can say, well, I tried, but it didn't work. Right? Yeah. Yeah, so that's one way we kind of got into the vocabulary of practice, but that certainly is an important thing when we talk about opportunity and the process. I think so many times it comes down to process. A process is a journey, like you were talking about, Kerri. It's a journey. It's a process, and practicing can bring us clarity. It can bring us action. It can bring us positive behaviors. It can bring us all kinds of things. Yeah.
So here's what I was thinking about opportunity. I was thinking about how when we do what when we think about creating what we want in our life, we can create the opportunities, and we call it serendipity when things just sort of flow into place. But what are we doing to create that opportunity? Is it the healthy lifestyle? Is it the, positive thinking? Is it the manifesting? Who knows what it is? But opportunity can be not just some whimsical thing that happens to us. It can be more guided or created or,
Yeah,
manifested.
absolutely. I was thinking when you were saying that, I was thinking we can choose it. It can be
Correct.
chosen.
Correct.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. So to me, it really takes courage to choose to be in an environment or in a situation, in a relationship, and that is an opportunity to make a change. Just like sometimes a person comes into our lives and we're just feel some kind of like it's not right. There's just something there. And yet we can choose to maybe not try, I almost said try. We can choose
Perfect.
to be in that relationship long enough to have the courage to either walk away or to build that relationships. Because sometimes in my life, the friends that have become lifelong supportive friends are people that I didn't like, that I felt didn't like me, because that's not so much since I've become transformed, but in my other life, I would judge so quickly a person. I don't like that person because blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. And yet if I would take the courage to continue, being in a club with them or have lunch with them or whatever, to continue to like, discover their qualities, their personality, who they really were, that took courage on my part. And usually it turned out to be that those people were much deeper and more um, likely to be so that I could support them and they could support me, and it would be a reciprocal relationship. So I don't know. That's what came to my mind. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say that because I had a friend just yesterday send me a reel, which she sent me variations of the same concept of the first time I ever met you, I was scared and I had courage to go up and talk to you. Something along those lines, literally
Yeah.
of they people tell me often, and not as much anymore because I'm not out in the world as much as, I am behind a screen currently, but people will actually tell me later on how intimidated they were to talk to me. And I was like, I'm a marshmallow. Like I'm very nice, I promise. But there's so much truth in that, that we a lot of times need some extra courage to step over that threshold, of that energy field of like there's another level of support or, you know, so I wrote on the side, I am putting the note in my chat here to remind me as we're talking. So I'm like the other uh itty word that I love that goes with the opportunity is accountability. And that's the other piece of where I can find like really clearly see when people have told me that they were nervous to talk to me or any of those things. It's really because they knew, they were taking personal responsibility for something when they would engage with me, which I found really interesting. So accountability goes along with trying as well. The word try to me is why we don't like it, is because there is no accountability when we say we're going to try it, because it's just willy-nilly. There's no concrete commitment when we say I will. It is a commitment. It's taking personal responsibility and accountability.
That's great. Yeah.
You, that's interesting because I read once that the things that you see in somebody else that you don't like are actually inside yourself, or you wouldn't be able to see those things, right?
Yeah. Mirror,
Which
the
is so,
mirror
yeah,
concept.
the mirror, which is very true. So we can't really always judge a book by its cover if that's, what you want to quote it as. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know one of the quotes I have up on my mirror is from Mother Teresa. And I won't be able to say it exactly, but it's like you cannot judge and love at the same time.
True.
And, so because I'm a recovering perfectionist, I beat myself up. I still fall into that. It's an addiction. And I have to, change my mindset. I can't love myself if I'm judging myself. And then that goes, you can't love others if you're judging others. And it, again, all of these insights that we gain, this inspiration that we have that hits us at the moment, those are all opportunities. Opportunities to what's the word? I have the word in my head, but it's not going to come out. Like change, that's not the word I'm thinking of, but like to redirect our thoughts, our actions, our words, when we're aware that we're blocking that opportunity because we're judging. And so just being aware that, like Carol said, you can be in a place where opportunities are available by choice, and you can choose to embrace them by being courageous.
Or not by being fearful.
Yeah, well, yeah, because courage is what brings us to freedom, and fear is what keeps us from taking action for sure. Yeah. Great thoughts.
Sometimes,
Yeah, I've
yeah,
got
and
good
some,
notes here. That's
yeah,
what
and
I'm doing with
sometimes
this.
some, excuse me for just a second, but sometimes I find it takes courage to say no too. And that's something that I think is also an opportunity to say, and I just said that to my daughter yesterday, when you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. Or when you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And how important that is. And it's hard sometimes, right? Because maybe you made this commitment, but you're not feeling well, or you're not in, then it's that courage just to say, hey, maybe I can't make it today. And being real with ourselves, right? Instead of trying to maybe people please or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that. I use that a lot with my clients is when there's, when you say no, then you're saying yes. And when you say yes, you're saying no. And sometimes that, really, what are you saying? It takes some thought behind that concept to understand that because most of us, and I'll just say myself, because I can't talk for other people, is that I still, even though I've practiced a lot intentionally to remember that perfection is not, it's a myth and it's a addiction, I'll find myself saying no to myself in order to say yes so people will see me as competent and perfect. And that's where I get stuck up in that is that I think in my head that people are judging me when I say no. And if I don't say yes, then I'm not competent. So that I've had to work through that and I have to work through it all the time and have the courage to be aware of that. And I usually when I have the courage to say no, they could care less. Oh, okay. That's, I was like, oh, I thought you were going to think I was a dummy if I said that, or that I, wasn't smart enough to do that. Or, I mean, those are my triggers that put me into fear is when I think other people have a perception of me that's fearful to me to be that way. And that's my trigger. So then I can pull up the compassion, pull up the awareness, and know that they probably love me just the way I am, and I don't have to prove that I can do this or do that. But I struggle with that all the time because it's a fear. I don't care how long you practice, it's always going to bubble up. It's
Yeah.
because it's just human nature.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
my fear is that if I say no to something, they're not going to like me anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know, and I have abandonment issues. So, then I'll lose them as a friend because I say no. So I'm a people pleaser at times, but I'm
Yeah.
better at saying no.
Yeah. And just being aware of that is such a strong incentive to, process that information and recognize, I can say no. I'm gathering enough evidence that they didn't stop liking me. They didn't leave me. And
Yeah.
I can say no. I mean, in some cases, that might be the outcome. And they don't come back to you to ask for, well, okay, that's all right. Then that probably wasn't one of your people. And
Yep.
and moving on from there, which again takes courage.
It
Takes
does. And
courage.
practice,
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
I
And I
love
think,
this. There's a great life experience right now in my house that's happening and that I see very clearly how opportunity. And so my 12-year-old daughter, um, my children have the opportunity to go to their grandparents' house for 3 days without their parents. And that's not an opportunity they get often. And this is the first year my mom has been retired. So like the freedom in the summer and all of these things. So but there was a scheduling conflict with an event that I actually told her about and was like so excited and got her excited, Phoenix excited to go to this. And and then it ended up falling on the same day as one of the days that they would be gone. So then, she was really upset that she was maybe going to miss the event or miss going to her grandparents. And I really was calm and just really clear, like, you do have the choice to stay home, and I will gladly take you to the event still, knowing that you were excited about it. Absolutely. And then you need to live with your choice of saying no to going with your brothers to your grandparents and having that freedom and that joy and those memories for that. I said, but it is definitely your choice. I know that both things you want to do. I said, and it's really hard. There was a lot of life lessons in this, because exactly what we're saying. Also, right, Terry, I know you and I talk about the FOMO thing, the fear of missing out, and how we're placed with that as adults all the time. Like, events happen on the same days often. Things are recurring. We don't have the energy for other things. Like, there's not enough income for something. Like, there's always a choice to be made in our priorities and the opportunities that come to us that we do need to say no to, because there's a yes for something else, and we get to decide and choose what's going to fulfill us the best. And I was just having some really real conversations with my 12-year-old about this, to make sure that she was making a choice for her, not for me wanting her to go and have that time and guilt trip her, but just giving that to our children, right, and the younger ages, to understand, like, they do have some options to decide some things, because a lot of the times they don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Decide.
Yeah. My oldest daughter, she's 55. She still tells me that I can guilt her into anything. It makes me feel bad.
Well, that's a strong one. Yeah.
Terry.
But now,
That's a strong
that was
pattern.
again before my transformation. But it
Yeah.
is, as a parent, sometimes it's a real opportunity to teach our kids that they have those choices. That means I can be aware that I am giving her that choice, and not because even at you guys aren't even 55, but your kids, doesn't matter how old your kids are, they're still that, there's still that thing where you want to control things and
Do what I said.
yeah,
Because I said
Not
so.
as I do.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
that's my worst thing.
It
We're
just
really
makes,
working on modeling what we want our children to mimic in my house. That is my
yeah,
new anthem at the beginning of July, was
Yes.
I model
Yeah.
what I want my children to mimic. And we're
Yeah.
really, in my marriage, we're working on both of us being on the same page about that
Right.
yeah,
affirmation
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
instead of the
we
opposite.
can, that's an opportunity too. It's an
Yeah.
opportunity for you to teach your children that they have choices and you can set the example. And that's kind of what I do now. My kids are all grown. My youngest one's 42. And it's like I just that's what I've come to is I can model, I can be an example. I have of patience, of compassion, of understanding, and I can keep my mouth shut. And that it really makes a difference in our relationship. And I'll see them make a choice that would have been the choice I would have guilted them into making anyway. So yeah, I love that because I always tell you, Becky, that I would like to have known you when I was your age because I think we could have helped each other develop some of these qualities. But I always say it's never too late, never too late. So yeah, I can go to bed at night and think, all right, you practiced pretty well today. You didn't, because my oldest daughter's living with me right now. She's going through a divorce, and it would be really easy for me to tell her what to do all the time, and I'm not. So pat myself on the back and acknowledge myself that I'm
And
learning. Yeah,
yeah,
learning
love
to
love that.
let
Love that.
her. It's her learning
Yeah.
challenge. It's her opportunity to grow, and if she comes to me and asks me for my opinion, then I'll give it to her. But otherwise, I just let her.
Mm.
And you're aware of it. And that I
Yeah.
think is the hugest thing here is being aware of so many
Yeah.
habits and
Yeah.
thought patterns. And
That's the
right,
first
that's
step. Yeah,
courageous.
that's the
Yeah.
first step. When, again, in our program where we teach the 12 steps from fear to freedom, that's number one
Mhm.
Mm,
is awareness.
absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
because if we're not aware, we don't understand that there is an opportunity.
Nope.
And then
Nope.
it's
Yeah.
missed, right? Because we don't even know. But then is it truly missed if we don't know? Right? You can't go past a rest stop when you're driving past, be like, oh shoot, we missed it. Unless you
Oh, yeah.
physically don't, if you physically don't see it, then is it truly missed? Because you have no awareness of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
awareness is
Yeah. Yeah.
we
I think that
don't know what we
um,
don't know.
practicing awareness is definitely an opportunity to reflect and to grow and to be inspired. And at the beginning, practicing awareness is not is it's a challenge. And yet then it can become just becomes internalized as the first step to change, to the pathway. We call it the pathway to freedom. It's the first step on the pathway to freedom. Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
takes courage to even look on that path, right? Like,
Absolutely.
because that other saying of when we see it, we can't really unsee it. We can try to avoid it. We can work on getting rid of the thought of, oh, I want to change that, by going back to the practice of ignoring it. But once it's in our awareness, that is planting another seed
Yeah.
of opportunity.
Of opportunities. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Being aware of the opportunities that come our way. I'm a person that really believes in spiritual inspiration, and I believe that I get these spiritual hits or intuition, whatever you want to call them. And if I'm aware, that's the first step. The second step then is to be willing to do something about it. And so that's what I tell my kids. I say, if you get these hits of inspiration to take action, because I believe if you don't listen, you'll get less and less of those intuitive hits. It's the taking action that builds the faith, that builds the capacity, that builds the way to actually take the opportunity and run with it. That's not the words I wanted to say, but that's what came out.
I think I think too with the intuitive hits, if you don't listen and don't take action, then there's going to be a harder lesson down the road
Could
because you
be,
you
yeah.
you have to. It's like first time you get a tap on the shoulder, the second time you get a clunk on the head. You know,
This is so true. Like hitting the donkey between the eyes with a stick, right?
yeah, yeah. It's like so,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure, for
I was
sure.
just thinking about how that's actually really good. I actually just said that example of my bonus dad who's offered to help with the renovation and the remodeling that we're working on in our home. And that he's the type of person that if you don't take action and take him up on his offer, the sooner the better, then it lessens. And I'm really now like, that's actually a really good characteristic to have. I'm not chasing people. I'm attracting the people that are ready for what I have and what I'm doing and who I am and who they're becoming, instead of I'm going to continue the same people, right? Like, because that's really how my bonus dad is. It's like he has an idea, he shares his idea. If you're someone that you like the idea and there's a magnetism about it, like you better take action or the offer gets off the table very quickly.
Mm,
So I
mm.
felt it, I moved on it, and now it's in motion. But I'm just thinking about how, uh, you know, inspiring those people are, because we don't have all the time in the world. We have a finite amount of time. So when inspiration hits, take action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Opportunity.
inspiration is a opportunity. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's an opportunity for us to grow, an opportunity for us to serve, an opportunity for us to listen, and in my mind to actually be the person that answers other people's prayers because you've listened to that intuitive or inspirational prompting. however you want to look at it. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, I think we have a couple of minutes before our time is up. Anyone want to kind of summarize their take the opportunity to summarize their thoughts, their learnings today?
I think
I'm
I
glad.
love the,
Oh,
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead, Carol.
I just say I'm glad I took the opportunity because I was going to do something else, and I'm like, oh, opportunity, yay!
Yeah, same. And I think I really circled and starred the practice equals progress. And I think that's the best opportunity that we have is to keep practicing these things that we come together and talk about and learn more about ourselves as we do so, and then other people, really.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm walking away with understanding, really thinking about eliminating or uprooting, um, those places that I've been saying yes when I really want to say no. And I've been practicing that more this year than I feel like I have been in years prior. But then there's also some things that are coming up that it's like I've been saying no to that feel like a yes. And that the opportunity, I've been playing a reel of something else that's it needs to be reframed. So
Mm.
some really great awarenesses for me in taking the opportunity and having you ladies to contribute to the conversation. So thank you for being here. And
Yeah.
thanks for leading us, Terry.
Well, for me, it's been very supportive. I always gain insights into my own journey when I can have conversations with women that are on the same journey, to transform our lives to be more meaningful for us and others. And I too was touched by the conversation of saying no and saying yes, because I'm all ready to go right now. I'm not normally this put together at this time in the morning because I said yes to something that I don't want to do, and I'm going to have to do it today.
Mm.
um, because I want, again, that fear of, oh, they won't like me if I don't do it. So that naggy fear that we have of being people pleasers, even though we recognize and are aware that that's not healthy for us either, we still fall into that trap. So I'm going to do it. I'll do the best I can do it. But it's like, okay, the next time I'm asked to do this, which I get asked to do it every year, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it just doesn't support me right now. And I'll give them names of other people that can do it. You know, I won't just leave them high and dry because I'm talking to 30 teenagers beginning of school. They're band kids, which I love band kids because band kids they're really cool kids.
Yeah, they are.
But I really don't want to do it. It's just like, so next time when he asks me, I'm going to give him a couple of names of other people that can do it that are younger than me, that I guess sometimes it's because I feel like they see me as their grandmother or great grandmother, because I could be either. Um, just some different people, not the same person all the time, to talk about leadership. And my journey to leadership is, 70 years of doing stuff, and talk to somebody that, is new, like closer to their age, how have they developed. So one time I had my daughter do it and she did a good job, but then he asked me to do it again. So I'm going to say, here's a list of people do
You
they can do it.
you don't even have to give them the list because you could leave them high and dry and let them
I
figure it out.
could, but I probably wouldn't.
I know, I know, but I'm just saying it's a choice.
I
Yeah.
know. I know. I hear you. I hear you talking like I do. I could. Yeah, I don't need to. I could make that choice. You're right. Well,
I'm
thank
looking
you, ladies. Thank you so much. It's the end of our time. We've all kind of shared our takeaways, and so I'll turn it back to Beck, and I'll see you next